Hey everybody, it's Jochen Hayden, and I'm back with the Desert Wolf versus Wirraway Ace War in the Pacific campaign. This is scenario 1 with stacking limits, and we are now going to watch the 26th of November combat replay. Let's do it. Okay, we are live. This is November 26, 1942, Desert Wolf versus Wirraway. Things are definitely heating up right now. Some nighttime coast watchers, a lot of stuff sighted in the Solomons area. Okay, so we just went through the naval movement phase at night. There was nothing. All right, and no night bombing attacks. I think the moonlight's getting a little too dim for that. So we should be getting ready for another movement phase here. More coast watchers. You can take their reports with a grain of salt. Okay, I don't think we're going to have any kind of naval combat right now. Going into the AM air phase. Oh man, those subs are just getting ripped up at Millie. Okay, looks like we got some bad weather cropping up here in all over the place, really. All right, so the Japanese are back to flying over this hex in China, north of Chikiong. It does not appear that DesertWolf elected to go and do any cap traps today. I think the surprise is lost, so he's not looking to repeat something, right? Okay, we're doing some sweeping action south of Prome. That's definitely going to be an area that he's looking to do something in. Okay, a lot of sweeps, so that means he's definitely going to hit this hard today with bombers. And he ain't looking to get cap trapped himself, so he's sending in a lot of fighters to sweep it out. A lot of fighters. Okay, there's some straggler sweeps coming in here. Here come the bombers. This is pretty heavy bomber get up today. That's pretty effective. This is one of the better bombing raids I've seen in this hex. That's a lot of disruption to these troops here. Okay, let's keep it going. Wow, look at this. Look at this raid. Just a little assortment of everything he's got. He said everything he's got here. Some come from Prome, some come from Lido. Unfortunately, they just don't do anything. Why are they not able to do any damage here? Must be the weather, right? Yeah, this is pretty pathetic, really. It's almost not even worth doing it. Look at that. This is like not doing anything. Okay, more sweeps. Oh wait, this is not a sweep. These are bombers, right? The Vengeance 1. That sounds like something from Star Wars, right? Vengeance 1. They carry a halfway decent bomb load, too, for as small as they are. They're just not getting through. The weather's really killing it. Vengeance 1. We get it, bro. You're trying to bomb south the Prome. Oh, we're not hurting anything. Hopefully we're disrupting those troops at least, right? It's got to be disruptive. Just nothing really happening here. Okay, some more B-17s working their way in there. So many wasted sorties because the weather is so bad. Just very minimal damage to the Japanese there. As you've probably seen by now, a lot of these AM or PM air phases, right? They're mostly recon. There may be some action, but not a lot of actual bombing raids and such go on at PM phase. Man. Millie is just a submarine graveyard. Or it's going to be if he doesn't deal with that. As you can see, a lot of recon in these PM phases. Ooh, okay. Well, they made a liar out of me. We got a bombing raid going into Nauru. Nice raid. Okay, 21 B-17Es get in and do a lot of damage to the Japanese there. And more. Oh, they're gonna eat it today. Yep. Good stuff. A lot of damage to the base. Look at that. Look at these hits. Holy recon. Okay, let's... okay, good. We got the point. There's a lot of recon. Alright, so we're done with air stuff. So now there'll be one last little check here for any submarine activity. And then we'll get right into the ground combat phase here. I called it, didn't I? I totally called that one. Okay, check this out. We got the I-11, which appears to be a pretty big fleet boat, out here in between Ellis Islands and Espiritu Santo. And it picked up that troop transport task force we know is going into Luganville. Fired some torpedoes at a destroyer mine layer and missed. Okay, Japanese bombardment in the impassable hex. Chipped off a few, but nothing major. Okay, bombardment attack here. Didn't really accomplish anything. Allied deliberate attack? Oh, dang! Ooh, this should be good. Let's see, what are we dealing with here? A lot of heavy hitting units. I don't think they're going to break through, but it's going to be a matter of casualties here. Like, how bad is it going to be? I'm going to go ahead and resolve it right now. What do you think? Are we going to do good or are we going to get beat up? Let's go. Starting off with a 2-to-1 advantage right off the bat. After the game calculates everything, he adjusted this 1-to-2. Ooh. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, that's kind of tough, man. That's 3-to-1 losses here. Now, one thing is noteworthy: the Japanese lost a lot more vehicles here. So, do they have armor? What is that? This tank regiment. That could be something. I'm guessing the tanks that the Allies have are better than the tanks that the Japanese have. So they took a higher percentage of destroyed vehicles. So that's something. But the infantry losses on the Allied side were much higher. So if he's going to break through here, it's going to be a really long, grindy mess. And that's not a sustainable rate of loss if it's constantly 3-to-1 like that. I'm sure it didn't help that the bombers really didn't do much because of the weather. I doubt the Japanese were that badly disrupted. Despite the quantity of sorties, I don't think a lot of bombs hit the target. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get through all this stuff and see if we get any reinforcements on the map. Okay, a sub-chaser at LA. Oh, VP-54. I think that's a patrol squadron. Those are always good to have, and that's at Pearl. Okay, we'll take a look at it. Okay, let's look at our numbers here. Starting with aircraft losses for this turn, pretty minimal, 3-to-2. Just an assortment of stuff here. You can take a look for yourself. Nothing really noteworthy. Of the 3 aircraft lost, no pilots were missing, wounded, or killed. Army loss points for this turn. Not so great for the Allies today. 46 Allied losses to 14 Japanese. That ground combat in Burma was very grindy and cost the Allies a lot of casualties this turn. Ship sunk. Nothing indicated here for this turn. Political points. Now, there's something pretty substantial going on here. This indicates 209 points were spent, and that really sounds like ground units to me. So we'll have to look around and see where those points could have been spent at. I'm guessing an infantry regiment or two on the west coast or something like that. But 209 points spent by DesertWolf this last turn. For the turn, the Japanese gained 39 points, bringing their win ratio up to 1.622. So creeping back up just a little tiny bit. So Wirraway's definitely not out of this yet. He's down but not out. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transition over to Combat Reporter, and we'll take a look at some of the notable things for this turn in that thing. Again, I'm testing this out on this campaign to see if you guys like it. I'm going to get a few videos going with Combat Reporter, and if you guys are telling me you hate it, you don't want me doing it, we won't use it anymore. But I will see you guys in just a moment with Combat Reporter. Okay, we're back with Combat Reporter for this turn. Let's take a look at the 26th of November. Okay, we'll start down here with combat. The only sea engagements we had was the submarine engaging the DM Tracy and some APs out here near Luganville, and nothing came of that. On the ground, definitely the big story to talk about for this turn would be this combat here in Burma, just south of Prome. Okay, so this, as I mentioned during the combat replay, did not go particularly well for the Allies. You can see they lost 3-1 casualties here. Now, they did get into the vehicles quite a bit for the Japanese, but took a lot of infantry casualties on this one. So this is not a sustainable rate of loss. That occurred just south of Prome. No amphibious activity. Let's talk about SIGINT. Radio calls, and again, this is one of my absolute favorite features of this program, is the fact that I don't have to search around for stuff. Now granted, all the radio transmissions that were picked up on the SIGINT this turn are at bases. The one that really stands out to me is here at Paramashiro Jima. This is a base that I've been watching quite a bit in the game, and there seems to be a lot of activity there in this campaign. Wirraway's doing something here. The base is heavily built up. We've seen mentions of different units stationed there, so I don't really know what he's using this base for, but we've been seeing a lot of radio transmissions and other miscellaneous information about it. Okay, so these are the units that are located as of this turn via SIGINT, and I think one that stands out to me is this, the 4th Medium Field Artillery Regiment at Port Moresby, and that's good to know for the Allies, because if you intend to invade here, the presence of a field artillery unit really hampers the attack and the unloading if you're attacking the base with one of these. So good to know that he's got that there. And the other thing that really stood out to me was this. There's apparently a Japanese heavy independent artillery battalion located north of Tavoy, south of Molmine, kind of out here by itself on this hex. So when we go back in game, we'll take a look at this and see what exactly is, why is this so important that he puts a regiment, artillery unit there. Okay, and just some information about based units, nothing particularly important. Although in the Kuril Islands, he does have 5,000 men based at Shumushiri Jima. Okay, for the ops support stuff, one arrival that I think is pretty cool. VP-54 arrived at Pearl, and that's a PBY Catalina unit. So the more of those, the merrier. You can never have too many. So he just got a new one. They're PBY 5As, and he's got 60 of those in the pool. So he can fully equip this unit and get it out in the field within a turn. I'm looking at this. Apparently, one of our captured pilots has been reported as found, Campbell L. So we'll take a look at him when I go back in game first and see what his stats are like, and if this is a good pickup or not. Other thing I wanted to look at was the repairs that were done this turn. I've been completely blind to the fact that there's a substantial naval presence at Bombay in the Indian Ocean up there in India proper. So we're going to take a look at that base too here in just a minute and see what all's there, because these are some big ships here. There's a sizable amount of troops, and not so much troops but ships here. Like we got a lot of destroyers, light cruisers, heavy cruisers. We'll take a look at Bombay here in just a minute. So There you go. You got some combat, you got some SIGINT, and you got some ops report stuff that I thought was noteworthy. All brought to you by Combat Reporter. Again, I'm looking for feedback on this. Do you like this segment in my videos? Let me know. Anyway, we're going to go back in game now. Meet you there. Okay, back in game. We'll do a quick follow-up on the stuff we saw on Combat Reporter. First thing we'll do is take a look at these ships at Bombay, because I didn't realize these guys were here. So, 2 heavy cruisers, 1 light cruisers, and a smattering of destroyers. A lot of these are actually Dutch destroyers. You see these guys with the low range here? These are Dutch. So a lot of the Commonwealth and Dutch destroyers somehow found their way up into Bombay. But be that as it may, this is a base I should probably pay more attention to, because the presence of these ships here is noteworthy. And we'll also take a look at that pilot, Campbell L., who was previously missing in action and is now back in the fray. So we'll see if we can find out where he's at. Campbell L. Let's see. Campbell L. There he is. So this is it looks like a bomber pilot. But this is a bomber pilot that has a kill. So he must have been a B-17 or a B-24 pilot and had an enemy fighter shot down, so the pilot gets the kill credit. So, hey, you know what? You can never have too many bomber pilots with kills. So this guy's coming back in December of 1942. Presumably back to this unit here. Okay, let's get on with the actual turn recap here. In China, we do see that Wirraway is definitely trying to break through right here. And I think, honestly, if he was going to break through anyway, this is not a bad place to do it. We only have 2 units here with about 484 combined assault value, and Wirraway should be able to bring substantially more than that into this hex. The hex has a stacking limit of 30,000, so I think he can get a couple decent units in here and wear this unit down. Where he goes from there, I don't know. But I think he's just trying to clear this all out to make sure we have a nice clean supply line from Lanchow into the rest of his possessions. Still no indication as to what direction he's going to go with up here. Is he going to pursue? Is he going to attack Signing? Or is he just kind of done? Was Lanchow his only objective? It's hard to say. We'll have to see. In the central part of China here, we still see Wirraway trying to do something here. I don't know why. And the line drive to this hex is still on the way. The Allied aircraft are still present, right? And they're set to cap right now. And they're set to cap over Chungking only. And the reason that they're set to that is to get this fatigue level down. Long range cap is very fatiguing for your pilots. It'll quickly raise this fatigue level up to unacceptable levels. So by flying escort, they're staying local, 0 hex distance, so they're just hovering around the base. So the pilots get less tired. It gives the fatigue level a chance to go down. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another cap trap being operated in this area here in the next couple days once these fatigue levels come down. Now, one thing I did notice is that the P-38s seem to have bugged out. So let's see where they went. Where the heck is that? Let me go back. Oh. Okay. So he pulled these guys back to here. I don't really know why, but he did. I would have just left them in Chungking, but he felt the need to bring the P-38s back out of Chungking, and the bulk of them are in here at Myktina. I don't think I'm saying that right. Anyway, these poor guys are really starting to feel the heat from those bombers. Look at this disruption. It's very, very high. So I don't know in what shape these units are going to be in when the Japanese actually show up, but they may not be as combat worthy as I think. And this is only ×2 terrain right here, so they don't have that ×3 modifier that the other hexes have. So I would like to see what the Japanese are bringing here and what they're going to do when they get here. Because these units are pretty badly disrupted. They don't have a lot of supply, and the fort level is not that high. They may actually fold up. Other than that, we got a stalemate. So, Burma. A little more activity here than normal this turn. A massive bombing campaign in this hex, which did not appear to do particularly well. If you look at the bad weather indicator, it's not showing that there was bad weather here, but we certainly saw it during the replay. The bombers were in severe storms, thunderstorms. Their accuracy was crap. And you may realize that there were low casualties inflicted there. And when these units attacked, right, they did not do very well. They took more than a 3-to-1 casualty rate. And this is only jungle terrain, guys. This is not even the ×3 stuff. So whatever is in here is definitely going to cause some issues for the Allies trying to break through. Those 3-to-1 casualty rates are not sustainable when you have these stacking limits, right? Unless it's Wirraway's, DesertWolf's intention to constantly shuttle units in and out of there, but that seems like a lot of micromanaging. So right here is that hex that we saw a mention of a heavy artillery battalion. Now, I don't know if SIGINT can ever be wrong about locations, but this is where they're saying they're located, somewhere in here. And it does seem a little bizarre to have a unit sitting in the middle of nowhere like that. So I'm starting to question the validity of that SIGINT. If you know more about that, if you know that you can trust those locations when they're given, especially off base like this, I'd love to hear about it. Okay, let's take a look. I don't see any real activity. Well, what's this? Loading supplies. Nope, that's nothing. I thought I'd take a quick peek down here just to make sure nothing's happening. I don't like to have the wool pulled from under my eyes. Why is there an amphibious task force? That's a lot of APs. I just noticed this is Sydney. I haven't been looking down here for a while, but boy, that's a lot of APs in Sydney, huh? And another one. There are 2 very large task forces in Sydney. Why? Why is there so many? What's going on here? Huh. There's 2 Australian divisions here. Tagula Island. I wonder if there's something going on here. No, there's 3 Australian divisions here. The 8th, the 1st, and the 2nd. And a Marine regiment, too. I wonder where these guys are heading. Wow, I'll tell you what. I'm going to start watching Sydney a little more closely because I think there's something going on here. I don't even know what possessed me to look at this, but this is... 3 Australian divisions, some American stuff. A Combat Engineer Regiment, what is this? There might be something going on here, guys. That's a lot of transport ships. So I will be watching Sydney in the next couple turns here just to see if something's going on. Look at this. Look at all these guys. These guys are going to Brisbane. That's a lot of troop ships. Look at all these troop ships. AKEs. Bunch of escorts. There's something going on down here, guys. Huh. We'll watch this too. Going to Brisbane. What's this about? Man, I need to come down in the South Pacific more often. There's some stuff going on here. We got transports coming into Luganville. We got other stuff already there. Huh. I think we might have something going on down here, guys. But I don't have enough information to really tell you what that is. But please know, I will be watching this more carefully. We may be looking at a Solomon's thing going on down here with all the ship activity I'm seeing. All right. Anyway, I don't want to get too distracted. Let's talk about the marshals. I've gone through these task forces here, and I haven't seen anything particularly noteworthy as to what these particular ships are doing. nothing really in here that I thought was worth talking about. We can take a look up north here. We still have these guys on the way down there to Kusai. That has not changed. But there's been quite a bit of changes to the units out this way. Let's start talking about all the things that I see. We still have these guys heading towards Millie. We still have these carriers here, the Wasp, Lexington, and Saratoga heading to Aurora. We got a substantial amount of troops here that we've been watching a while back heading into Christmas Island, and I don't know why. The Wichita and Columbia is now at Canton Island. I thought they were going to Christmas, but now they're at Canton. These troops here, now either I've screwed this up or something has changed here. These troops were previously looking like they were heading for Millie, but for some reason they're now down here and heading in line with Macon. So I don't know if I misread this a previous turn or what, but I could have sworn this task force was heading basically over here somewhere, looking at Millie. So I'm not sure where these guys are going. I still think they're destined for Millie at some point. We have these two escort carriers heading to Tarawa. We have the standard class battleships. This is quite the assortment heading to Macon. All right, these AOs are just going to Johnston for now. I don't know why. And now this is different. This unit was combined with this one, or so I thought last turn, right? 763rd Tank Battalion. Now all of a sudden, I believe these guys are split up. So we have some going to Johnston, which I don't really understand why. These guys are heading out here. I don't know where they're going. Unless they're trying to take Wake Island again. I don't know. And also, we still have these heavy cruisers and the carriers still heading to Wake. So the Wake operation is still on to whatever end that is. And again, I do believe this is a covering force to neutralize Wake and to make sure that these guys can get into Kusai without being spotted by patrol planes at Wake. So I do believe these guys are going to be hitting Wake Island to neutralize it for that purpose. All right, the last thing I spotted that I thought was kind of cool. These guys just landed and they're unloading this infantry regiment. And look at this. This one got away from me. The Washington. Remember the Washington? We saw it in I believe it was in Los Angeles about a week ago. It's back up and running. It's recently got an upgrade. And it is heading down to Christmas Island again and meeting up with these guys. Maybe. I don't know. So we're going to watch this task force now too, because I would love to see one of these modern American fast battleships actually get into combat and do something. Because all we've been seeing is basically the standards and the older pre-war battleships being used. We have not seen any of these big boys put into service yet. So I would love to see what a Washington, a North Carolina class battleship could actually do. So, all right, I think I've been talking long enough. There's a lot of moving parts right now, guys. So I'm sorry if it looks like this is a little disjointed. I'm sure it's not for DesertWolf, but it is for me because I'm trying to figure it all out. And things keep changing and things keep splitting up and moving around from one turn to the next. I'm having to try to deduce what's going on because DesertWolf isn't telling me anything, and I don't want him to. I like the thrill of tracking his stuff and trying to figure out where he's going, but I'm not always going to be correct because he's holding the keys. He has the initiative advantage because he's the one controlling everything, and I'm just watching it after the fact. So to summarize, we got something going down at Wake soon. We've got carriers coming in down here. We got battleships going to Macon. We've got troops pointed towards Millie, and now we may have something going on in Australia. This may be a bust or maybe something serious, but I just noticed it when I was perusing the map earlier, so I kind of want to watch this too. So we got a lot of things happening here, and what really set this in motion, in my opinion, was the Kido Butai showing up at Akyab, because what it did was it tipped the it gave the information to the Allies as to where the Japanese carriers were. We know where they're at now. They're more than likely in Singapore, and we know it takes almost about 2 weeks to get out to the Marshalls from there. That's my estimate anyway. Let's take a look at this. They're going to Kusai, right? From Kusai to Singapore is 92 hexes, and that's straight line distance. There's still things you have to navigate around, so let's call it 100. 100 hexes divided by 8 hexes a day. What is that? 10 days? More like 12 days, right? Something like that. Plus, we have to account for having to refuel, rearm, repair the ships that were going at full speed up to Akyab. So I'm calling it at least 2 weeks before the Kido Butai could even potentially get into position on the fringes of the Marshalls to be effective. So that gives DesertWolf a 2-week window of opportunity to do something spectacular before the Japanese carriers could even get into position. Now, that does not assume that the Japanese don't run full speed, right? They could. That doesn't mean that they may cut short their stop in Singapore. They could. There's a lot of variables here, so the timing has to be just right, and it's very risky because we don't know how quickly Wirraway is going to want to move those carriers, assuming he moves them at all. I feel like he might, but we'll have to wait and see. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, give me your feedback on the Combat Reporter inserts if you like that or not, and then I'll go from there. Catch you on the next one.